Hello and welcome to week 1 of my Beachcombing Blanket crochet along. It's a written pattern and it's all available over on my blog with lots of step-by-step photos too. And I'm doing these video tutorials just to help along with some of the stitches. So we're on to round 17 and I've joined yarn C into any corner chain space and started like we have done in other rounds with the 3 chain, 1 treble, 2 chain, 2 treble, all in that same corner chain space. Now in round 17 we're crocheting into half treble stitches that we made in round 16. So like we did right at the beginning of our square here, where we just crocheted into the back loops only, the back 2 loops, leaving a front strand to the front of the work. That's what we're going to be doing here. So in round 17, insert the hook into the back 2 loops of the half treble stitches. And also it's really important to pay attention to get the first stitch of each side when crocheting into a round of half treble stitches. It's very easy to miss the first stitch of the side. The first stitch of the side doesn't even look like a stitch really, but it is. It's this one here. So the first stitch to crochet into of the side is this one. So if you look at the instructions, it is 1 treble, that's a US double crochet, in each of the next 19 stitches. So pay attention to get that first stitch of the side, and we are only crocheting into the back 2 loops of that stitch, leaving a front loop to the front. So that's 1 treble, US double crochet, and then again we're just working these stitches by inserting the hook into the back 2 strands loops of the half treble stitches, leaving a front strand loop to the front of the work. So that's 1, 2, this is 3, and then it's just work 1 treble, US double crochet in each of the next 19 stitches. But just go behind those 2 back strands. And you can see we're leaving those loops to the front there. So keep going until you've done 19. So I've done 19 treble US double crochet stitches, and if we look at the instructions now, it tells us to miss the next stitch. So we're missing this stitch here, and now we're doing another raised stitch, but this one is a raised double treble front, or a front post treble in the US, and that's where you wrap the yarn around the hook twice. And it tells us to go around the raised stitch on the right below from round 16. So that's this one here, the right-sided raised stitch of the 2 there. And so insert your hook around that raised stitch, yarn over and pull through to the front, and then just complete the double treble, US treble stitch as normal. And you can see we've extended that raised stitch now. And so now if you have a look, it says 1 treble in the same stitch going into the stitch as normal. So if we look behind, there's the stitch we were in before, this is the stitch we missed, and now we need to go into this stitch, which is actually the same stitch that we've just gone around, and insert your hook as normal and just work a treble stitch as normal going into that stitch. But it's the same stitch as the raised one we've gone around. And so now it's 1 treble in the next stitch, and this is a half treble stitch, but just go into the stitch as normal. Don't worry too much about having a front strand there. And now it's 1 treble in the next stitch. Again, this is a raised stitch. You just go into the stitch as normal with 1 treble, US double crochet. And then we're going to do the raised double treble front, the front post treble in the US, around the same stitch, which is actually the left-sided raised stitch now. So it's the same stitch we've just worked into, but we're going to go around it, around the post of that stitch, inserting your hook front to back, round to the front again, yarn over, pull it through, and then finish the double treble, US treble stitch as normal. And you can see this is the effect that we are now getting, extending those raised stitches. So it's miss the next stitch, so miss this stitch here, and now continue with 1 treble US double crochet in each of the next 19 stitches to the end of the side. And then when you get to the end of the side, it's 2 treble US double crochet, 2 chain, and then 2 treble all into that corner chain space. And then we repeat on the next 3 sides. So 1 treble in each of the next 19 stitches, making sure you go into the back 2 loops of those half treble, and do exactly the same when you get to these front raised stitches in the middle as we did do on this first side, and go all the way around. Time the middle bit because I've just done on another side 19 treble. So now we do miss the next stitch and work 1 raised double treble front around this right raised stitch here. So just complete the double treble stitch, US treble as normal, but going around that stitch, and then we're working a treble US double crochet as normal into the same stitch. Just work that stitch as normal. So then 1 treble into the next stitch, which is this one here. Then 1 treble into the next stitch, which is this raised stitch. And then we work 1 raised double treble front, wrap the yarn over twice around the same stitch, which is the left raised stitch from below. So insert your hook around the stitch and then complete the double treble US treble stitch as normal. Miss the next stitch, this one here, and then in the next one remember to go into the back 2 loops only of these half treble stitches for the rest of the side. 1 treble, so it's 1 treble in each of the next 19 stitches to the end of the side, and there you can see what it's looking like. So I've come to the end of the final side, and then we make a slip stitch into the top of that starting 3 chain, work a slip stitch to close the round. Now this time at the end of round 17 we are not fastening off, we're going to carry on in round 18 with yarn C. So we'll go straight on to round 18, make 3 chain, then it's 1 treble US double crochet into the next stitch, and then into the corner chain space we work 2 treble US double crochet, two chain, and then 2 more treble US double crochet. And then on this round 18, which is our outer round of the square, we just work 1 treble US double crochet in each stitch to the end of the side, and in the corners we're working the 2 stitches plus the 2 chain, then 2 stitches again, and do this all the way around. So I've completed round 18, which was the round of simple treble US double crochet stitches, and this is what our square will now be looking like. So we've just got 1 more round to do for this central square, and that is a crab stitch sort of edging along these front loops from round 16 into these front loops from the half treble stitches, and we're going to do that on each side, each corner between the raised stitches. So if you look at the instructions, remember we're going to be using a hook size smaller than what you've been doing for the main square. And it says insert your hook into the front loop of a half treble stitch from round 16, which sits directly to the right of these 2 raised stitches. So it's the first front loop to the right of these raised stitches, and we're going to join yarn A. So just pull yarn A through that loop like so, and then we make 1 chain. Now remember, the crab stitch is just single crochet, US single crochet or UK double crochet going backwards. So insert your hook into the next loop going from bottom up, grab that yarn, pull it through and under to the front and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. And again, insert your hook into the next front loop, grab that yarn, this is the tricky bit, get it underneath so you don't pull this loop off as well, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on the hook. Go into the next loop, grab the yarn, put it under, so you've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw through those 2 loops. Crab stitch can be really tricky to master. It's a bit fiddly, but just remember that it's just ordinary double crochet, US single crochet stitches worked backwards. This is the bit which can be tricky because sometimes you can pull the yarn through the loop that's already on the hook. If you can master not doing that, then you've mastered crab stitch. So into the next loop from bottom up, grab that yarn, pull it through and under so you still have the 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2, and you get that corded effect. So carry on with that to the end of the side, and then I'll show you how to go around the corner. So you can see we're getting that really nice corded effect from this reverse double crochet stitch. Got a couple more loops to go into before I'm at the end of the side. This is the last loop. And then what we're doing is we're literally going across the corner, no chains, no nothing, just go straight across the corner into the next front loop on the opposite side. There we go. Grab the yarn and just continue with this crab stitch, this reverse double crochet, reverse single crochet in US terminology, all the way along this side as well. And there we go. Into the next front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you can see it just goes straight across that corner and you get this lovely braided effect. And carry on to the very final loop when you're to the left of these raised stitches, and that'll be your first side, and then repeat it for every single corner until, as you can see with this one, you've gone all the way from the right of that raised stitch all the way along across the corner and then to the left. You fasten off there and then repeat it going from here and round, and do that on each of the 4 corners. And there is the central square. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. Like I said at the start, it's not to replace the written patterns. I do these tutorials just to help make a little bit of sense and help show you some of the stitches, but it's not to replace the written patterns. So do look at the written pattern and use the photos on the blog as well to help you. I hope you found it useful. Thank you for watching.